Hi, everybody. So, my name's Tim Fitchett. I am a supervising attorney doing environmental work here in Pennsylvania, and I'm also teaching environmental ethics at night. And what I intend to do through this series is try and explain some of the environmental concepts that I teach to my students because I think that they're really, really important at this time. I think that we are missing some of the language and unable to have the ethical side of the environmental discussion because we don't have the concepts and the vocabulary to really have that deeper conversation. So what I intend to do is pretty much go through my entire syllabus, and I'm going to try and break down what are pretty complex topics into little bite-sized chunks, where hopefully, even if you just watch one video in isolation, you'll still learn something. But if you were to go through the entirety of the series, then you would have a much deeper understanding of environmental ethics and actually have a pretty good grasp on the basic formulations and the sides of the various arguments. So I think this stuff's really interesting. I think it's really fascinating. And I'm really excited to share what I've learned and come to understand over the course of the past many years about environmental ethics. But before we actually get into the philosophy and ethics and some of that denser material, I want to talk more about why. Why is it important for us to actually have this conversation about environmental ethics? And the fact of the matter is that our planet is dying. We are causing it irreparable harm. And this planet is amazing. So every year, as the first reading that I have my students do, I have them read this piece called A Moment on Earth by Greg Easterbrook. And in that piece, he's talking about all of these fascinating, unknowable, interesting aspects of nature. Specifically, goes into detail about sea turtles and how they hatch from a particular beach. They go and then live their lives for 50 years, but come back to that particular beach to lay their eggs. How they do that, we kind of know. It's some a magic little magnetometer in their brains, but it's really complex. And whether they're doing it out of some form of like a nostalgia or a just innate drive, we just don't really know. But it's really neat that they're capable of doing that. And so I have my students read that, and then one of the other assignments that I have for them for extra credit is I have them bring in cool animal facts. And so I have lots and lots of cool animal facts that I have gathered over the years. And I give them extra credit for whichever has the best animal fact. But it's not actually who I think has the best animal fact. It's who my daughter Rosie thinks has the best animal fact. So she always loves Animal Fact Day because I come back with 20, 30 facts to share with her, and she gets to pick her favorite. And so her favorite right now is regarding otters. And see, otters, they eat mussels and other mollusks. And in order to get into those mollusks, they use a rock. And they come to find a favorite rock. And they actually have a little pocket on their side where they can keep their favorite rock. And that in itself is cute and interesting. But what really makes me love this story is that if an otter really likes you and they want to be your friend, they will give you their rock. And to me, this just really shows this sort of emotional depth and understanding on the part of otters, which are, we often think of just relatively simple creatures. right? But they have some level of emotional depth to be like, this is a thing that I really care about, that I've held on to for a long time, but I like you, and I want you to have this. Because I think that we often have this sense culturally that animals are, simple automatons. And when we say that our dog is sad or feeling jealous, people will chastise us and say, oh, you're just anthropomorphizing those animals. But that's bullshit. We are built off of the same framework. And so while we may find our emotions are more complex, that we can feel grief and sadness and anger at a more complex level than animals, they are also capable of feeling some version of those emotions. And to take that away from them is to take away a part of what makes those animals animals. So, I really love that story, and I just wanted to start out with a fun little animal fact before I kind of dive into the more complex topics that I intend to get into. Because this world is an amazing, fascinating place. There are hundreds of examples of neat little animals that are just works of art in and of themselves, symbioses between creatures that are amazingly complex, ecosystems that are just gorgeous. And we as humans don't have a right to destroy that. And I'm going to talk throughout, right? From an ethical standpoint, destroying that is wrong. Actively destroying it is evil. And so we want to be able to explain that to others, why this is so important. So that's what my goal is here. And I'm really excited to share all of this really fascinating stuff that I've learned, and hopefully be able to pass that knowledge on to you with a little bit of humor and a little bit of fun while we're going through all of this. So I'm excited for it. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.